Hello and welcome to this wonderful episode of the BB&J Show. I'm not BB, but I am Jay, and that handsome devil to my side, I'm not sure which way you're facing, is BB. Today we have a wonderful, wonderful episode. We're back. It's been a little bit, I think, of a few weeks off, depending. I don't know. I've been away on vacaciones, but we're here. We have a wonderful show. We're going to look back a little bit on 2022. And BB, do you know what today is?
No, what is
Well, okay, not specifically today, but this February was 2022 was the
oh.
first start of the BB&J show, so this is our 1 year anniversary episode as
Yay!
well.
Hooray!
Yes, if I had a popper,
Yes,
just imagine confetti everywhere.
everywhere, just
Um,
sprinkling.
use exactly. Use your imagination out there in internet land. But we're gonna do a little bit of a look back into 2022. We have our three highlights and our three lowlights. We've unfortunately on the lowlights, I think there's gonna be really just four lowlights because we
Yeah.
agree on two of them, which is fine. And then we're gonna look back. We're gonna do a little bit of a look back on the first year of the show, and what we hope to accomplish going forward. But first and foremost, BB, it's an honor, it's a pleasure, it's a wonderful time being here with you. How are you doing today, my wonderful friend?
I'm doing amazing because finally my boy Jay is back from vacaciones. And been a struggle out here, without my boy, trying to survive on video games and whatnot. But no, I'm feeling good. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing wonderful. Tell the wonderful people the wonderful project you started while I was on vacation. Give us a little bit of a rundown about
Wait.
your new podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Cross promotion, baby.
Gosh. Oh my
Cross
gosh.
promotion. Available on Spotify and wherever. Well, actually, I don't know. Do you guys are like up on Apple
We're on
Podcasts? Or,
Spotify for now, and then we're
okay.
gonna try to jump to like different platforms because I know there's a lot of people who don't like use Spotify, so definitely going to do that. But okay, since you put me on the spot with this cross promotion, you see, Days everything around here, right? He's promotion, he's the spokesperson, manager. He's everything.
I got you,
Um,
boo boo.
but yes, I have started a podcast along with my amazing friend, Sir Greki. Right? It's called On the Wrong Page, and basically, I mean, as you all know how I think, right? But it's just recorded and out there for the world to know my ideas. But it's basically us just kind of having a conversation about specific topics that I think I'm right on. My takes are always right. So if you listen to it, make sure you're on my team, okay? But yes, it's available right now on Spotify where you have 3 episodes as of right now up and going. But yeah, thank you for that, Jay.
Of course, should make sure to check it out. I I refrained from listening on the flight home because I didn't want to go into a murderous rage and have to, be taken down by TSA when I landed. For those who
That's
don't know,
fair.
yeah, but I hope everybody out there gets a chance to listen to it. I'll be checking out the episodes that I haven't had a chance to check out lately. And if any of you have seen either BB streams or when he joined me on streams or had the chance to have more than 3 words of a conversation with him, you'll know that when he says his takes are unique, he
One of
means
a
that.
kind, like,
So yeah, check out the podcast. You honestly will not regret it. You'll feel something. You'll feel something is what I will tell you, you
Oh
know.
my.
And listen, that's more than my ex-wife said about me, so off to a good start.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. The classic Jay we all have missed. All right,
So
Jay.
BB,
Yo,
would you
let's
like to
see.
start us off since I opened the episode? Would you like to start us off with your highlights and your highlights? And we'll both do our highlights and then we'll do our lowlights and then we'll end on a happy note, looking back at the year that was the BB&J show and then looking forward at the terror we're going to unleash on people.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so a highlight that I have for me is going to be I'll start it off with Elden Ring. It actually won Game of the Year, which I mean, I think a few people, or probably most people, were kind of like thinking that that was gonna be the outcome. I mean, it was like two heavy hitters, God of War, and right,
My
but
rabbi Bill
um,
Clinton was happy that it won. Go on.
yeah, yeah, that guy, yeah, I remember that guy. But I would have to say that's a big highlight because I wasn't too like experienced with Souls games, right? But I watched a lot of streamers play like Dark Souls. I watched Greki play Dark Souls. That's kind of like what got me into like Dark Souls, so try it
Mm,
out.
yeah.
And when I played Elden Ring, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was a different take on like the franchise that they have. And then on top of that, the co-op, we've been playing a lot of like the modded co-op with a few friends, and that has been some of the most fun with the meme builds that you can do and the role play that you can do, and then like
Oh,
fighting each other because you're tired of getting clapped by another boss and thinking you can clap your friends, but in reality your friends clap you. That's the whole process, right? So
yeah. It's been a wonderful trip watching you guys play it in the Discord. I will say, to me, Elden Ring, the game itself was never like my genre of game, but I love watching it. Like I've watched countless streams of people playing it, Discord streams or Twitch streams, or I watch anytime I see somebody playing it because it's kind of like that getting over it game. It's very interesting to see
mm,
different people's ways of
yeah,
solving problems.
exactly.
And I love seeing that. So I totally get that being a highlight of 2022.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing. Like I was saying with the builds, that's like you said with watching different people take on the enemies. And it's funny when you play co-op too cuz you're like your partners have someone's got like a huge strength build, someone has like the mage BS build, and then you're over here like, or if you're me, you don't even know what your build is, but you're out there trying,
You give it your best shot.
Exactly, yeah. But yes, Elden Ring will have to be one of my very great memories that I've had with 20. Really, really great game and good time. Another highlight for me is actually going to be a TV show, or as I like to say, an anime, right? Because that's what it is, Jay. Okay. Um,
Cartoon. Got it.
whatever, sure. Um, I don't think we have enough time on this episode to argue, but but to me, 2022 was filled with a lot of great animes. But one that stuck out to me, just because it was a technically it's a they don't really have plans to go further than one season, but it was the
Mm,
Cyberpunk Edge Runners
mm,
anime. Wow, wow,
mm,
wow! That anime, I was kind of like on the edge at first, just because I was like, it's because sometimes when they do um they do films or TV shows or based on video games, right? They kind of
mhm.
stray either too away from like the lore, or sometimes they don't know what to do, and so it's like at times you're just kind of like, I don't know if it's gonna be good or not. And so I gave it a shot, and I don't regret it because wow, that show was incredible. They just like the game, they gave life to the characters in such
Mhm,
short episodes. It was 10 episodes only.
mhm,
They somehow managed to get you so hooked to the characters and care about them, just like how they do in Cyberpunk the game and Cyberpunk 2077,
yeah,
that I was just blown away. And I was like, wow, like I didn't want it to end, but it was a satisfying ending because you knew that this isn't like, like how do you put it? Like a real life happy ending kind of thing. This is
yeah,
Cyberpunk, right? And
yeah.
so anything can happen. And I love that show. It was very, very um
I I'm a huge fan of Cyberpunk the game. I played it at launch. I think I've said this on this show, and I know I've said it on my streams. Um, when I played it on launch, I played it on PlayStation 4 and PC. I had a remarkably smooth experience. I know that that's unique. I know that's not typical for a lot of people. I had a really smooth experience. I got about 60% of the way through the story, and so I love the universe. I love the world and everything. And yeah, I saw the first 2 episodes of Edge Runner, and I think either first 2 or first 3, something along that line. And you're right, they off the bat, like the first episode establishes we're gonna respect the
Yeah,
world that this game is. And I really like that about the show because I'm like, okay, because like you're right. A lot of times you have this show that's based off of another property, and they just take you know creative license and they
yeah,
do whatever the
yeah.
hell they want. The Witcher, The Witcher on Netflix. Ooh, excuse me, something got caught in my throat. It was bullshit. Um, but yeah, so you have that, so that's always a worry. So yeah, Edge Runners, from what I saw, I didn't get to finish it, but from what I saw, it was really good. And I'm not somebody who really is into anime, to be honest. It takes a lot for me to like actually sit and watch one, but it was really good from what I saw. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, that show was really good, and probably like one of the top shows that I liked for last year. And then finally, this one's kind of like a double-edged sword, just because it's going to be probably in both of ours, good and bad. But
Yeah.
I would have to say one of the very last. I mean, it was throughout the whole year, but the way we
Yeah.
ended it, kind of in 2022, was our Halo tournaments and also the league like announcement and
Hmm.
basically building up to this league that we made, right, for
Yeah.
the community. And just in case if you don't know, we basically you know, are now doing a league for this year where we can compete, build points, and then we'll try to stream matches throughout the year every month.
Hmm.
Hopefully, right? We can. I mean, we are doing another one this month. We did one in January. We're trying to keep that pace up, get more content in that way, but also just I think the most beautiful part about it is the whole tournament and
Mm.
the whole every the community coming together to just play because I'm
Yeah.
telling you that like those channels are so active in your Discord, right? Like
Hmm.
because people are like, "Oh, I need to play you. I need to play you at this time." And it's like, and the way that we made the rules, right? Thanks to all the team members that have been behind the scenes helping us with making the rules and how the league works.
Yeah.
Big shout out to them.
Huge shout out.
Because I don't know how Jay and I could have like, done this without ya
Short
and
answer: we couldn't.
well, yeah, basically, yeah, that we couldn't. So we're
Yeah.
just very thankful how everything's just built up, and I'm so passionate about it. Honestly, I
Mm.
really am because we've said this story many times, but I just feel like it just needs to be retold every single time, just so you understand what it means to us. Like we get
Mhm.
it, Halo. People can say it might not be in a good state right now, right? At least the franchise, right? Which is something we'll get into later. But but the thing is, like, it all started with just a simple like, hey, you want to play Halo? It basically that's what it was. That's all.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And then
Yeah.
it became more ideas of like, oh, let's do this event, but you never have any like pushback on it, or not pushback, but like you never have any kind of like pressure on it because you're just kind of like, it might not happen. You just think, because we love to dream about certain things, and you're like, real life happens, all this stuff. I don't know if it'll kick off, but
Yeah.
somehow we came together. We found people who loved Halo as well. They agreed, and we've made our first Halo tournament. And then last year, that the hype was even more, right? It's like every year that we were doing it, it was just like the hype was just like going above and
Mhm.
beyond. And then the effort that the team that we have, just put into it, just keeps going a step above, right?
Yeah.
And
It's astonishing.
yeah, so it's like I get so like caught up in it because I'm just like, damn, like this all started off with just a Discord message leading to now something where everyone's like involved. I love it so much
Mhm.
that I'm just like, damn, this is something that I wanted since I was like a child. Like I always wanted
Oh,
to
same.
participate
Yeah.
in something like that, right? And yeah,
Yeah.
here and there might have been like tournaments and stuff, right? But it was never you never really felt that connection, right, to it because it was just kind of like, oh, whenever anyone has time, kind of thing, right? And
Yeah.
so it never really like lasted. But the fact that we have this, I would say that's one of the biggest highlights, especially how we ended it announcing the league last year. That's
Yeah.
definitely a big highlight for me, and I can't wait honestly to see like where we go with this.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, that was my highlights.
Oh, I just agree with you on the Halo. and it is, as you say, the story gets told, but it's bare, being retold about the fact that it just was a bunch of people wanting to play Halo together.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was noticing how many people within the community are into Halo and would love to play Halo. And it started from a simple day of just, hey, let's all just get together and just, do a bunch of matches. And then, you know, I think it was because you had the tendency to want to 1v1 everybody. And I remember thinking, I said, we need to have some mechanism to determine who is the clapper of all clappers.
Yeah.
And we had eight people, that were going to play. And I'm like, wait, eight people? Tournament. And thus, you had people who didn't really know what to expect the first time and
Yeah.
how exciting it was because everybody I love this is my favorite part of anytime we discuss the tournaments or anything. It's always how Grecky and Blue were the first two to have a match, and all throughout the weeks leading up to the tournament, the first tournament, they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna throw the match," or "Oh, I'm gonna meme this way,"
Yeah,
or "Oh, I'm
right.
gonna just
Yes.
screw them that way," and then the match started, and you could tell they got sweaty and
Oh
they got
yeah.
serious,
Could
and
feel
it's the
it,
same.
dude. Yes.
You can't. It's the same for everybody where you can see it's like they go in, and of course it's all in good fun, but
Mhm.
at a certain you realize, hey, people are watching. I want to win. I want to do the best I can, and it leads to awesome encounters. And it's grown. We've had people who didn't know what to expect in the first one. They saw it and said, "I want in," and so they bought the Master Chief Collection, and they practiced, and they were in the second tournament, and the third tournament, and now we have a league. Which again, as you said, shout out to the other members of the committee that sort of puts this all together because it could be like birthing a Buick sometimes, trying to figure it all out. But it's a labor, but it's a labor of love, and I'm grateful to everybody who participates and who watches and who plays, and it certainly is a wonderful highlight, not just of 2022, but of the past, 4 or 5 years.
Definitely. Yeah. I agree with that, man. So such a great time that we had, and we're still having because
Hmm.
it's just gotten even better. And I
The
like
f-
I said, I can't wait to see what happens.
the fact that we're working towards our fourth tournament says it
I
all.
mean, yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. It's like, whew, who would have thought?
Yeah,
Like this,
yeah,
and the craziest part about it is like the first tournament was the one that we didn't plan in a way, right? Or at least have the
yeah,
most, like behind the scenes of it. It was just kind of like let's do it, and we'll just do it like well, we basically winged it, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
it was
We.
still one of the like most memorable ones that we've had where it was just like
Hmm.
how everything just happened and how everyone was like super chill at first and then you could feel the matches like it was so good.
Hey, this show doesn't happen without these tournaments because it
Yeah.
was you and I doing the broadcasting that built the chemistry that said, "Hey, we should actually, you know, do this
Oh,
little
you're
show."
right. We didn't even plan a broadcast like technically at like together. We were doing it
No.
separately, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's when it clicked when we're like, you know what? They should probably be easier just to like do it together, right? Like broadcast
Hmm.
together and we'll have co-commenting
Yeah.
commentating and yeah, I mean that's basically you're right. That's basically how the BB&J show happened. So
Yeah. So there we are. So yeah. Um. My highlights. I'll start with the. These are in no particular order in terms of importance or what I think is a highlight versus what I think is a super highlight, etc. But the first one I'll start with is basically getting to discover. And one caveat I just want to put on these things that we're doing for highlights, it doesn't have to be something that came out in 2022. It's
yeah,
just something
yeah.
we experienced in 2022. And of course, we're not adding the start of the BB&J show to these lists because that's a layup, and we're going to go over that at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Um, but no, the first is getting to experience horror creator Mike Flanagan's series on Netflix, particularly. I did see some other like movies that he did, but the series on Netflix, the one that stands out the most is Haunting on Hill House or The Haunting of Hill House. I love it so much I don't even remember the name. Um, but it's a lot of times in his series he'll reuse the same actors, And so, you see the same actors over and over again. But I discovered, or I didn't discover, but I finally got to see an actor named Raul Coley, I think his name is. I don't know. I maybe getting the pronunciation wrong, but he was at the Video Game Awards. And he's a really good actor, and I really like the stuff that he does. But The Haunting of Hill House, I'm not a huge like horror fan per se, but I love the way the stories are told. And if you're a fan of horror, recommend The Haunting of Hill House. That is the high watermark. Of course, I did see The Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, and The Midnight Club, I think it was called, was the latest one that he did. And I'm excited for the Fall of House Usher whenever that comes out. But it just really good storytelling, really good acting, really good writing. The Haunting of Hill House is the high watermark. Some of the other series aren't as strong in certain respects, but um, there's always the element. My favorite thing when I'm watching something or I'm experiencing something, whether it's a movie or whatever, is where I can't tell the twist.
Mm. Yes,
And
those are the best parts.
yeah,
The best parts.
exactly. I love when I'm watching something and it doesn't telegraph the twist. And The Haunting of Hill House, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. There's a specific twist that comes later in towards the latter half of the season of something that's been going on the whole series, and it's like a twist, and you kind of think about it for like a split second, maybe an episode or two before it happens, and then you're just like, nah, nah. Like it's
Hmm.
like one of because like when you're watching, you're trying to you
Exactly.
postulate theories
Yeah.
of like, well, what's this? Well, what is this? And so of course it's one theory that you float in your head, but it's not something that you know for a fact. And then when it happens, you're just like, jaws on the ground. So I
Yes.
love when a show can make me feel that when a show can make me like actually feel the twist draw me in like that. So that's definitely one of the highlights. And if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. And if you're scared of horror, which there's no shame in that, I'm not a fan of watching horror, get a buddy. They will thank you for it.
That's a good one. I
um
need to. I need to definitely watch. You told me
yeah.
about that one. Watch that series.
So I kind of I was gonna go with another series, but I'm actually gonna go with a movie.
Okay.
I'm gonna call an audible here because I just thought about as I was thinking through as I was having that conversation. I saw Midsummer this year.
Oh.
That Yeah,
Ooh.
that's a highlight for me because I'm working on trying to publish a book, and so when you think about a story as a whole, in terms of like when you're writing a book or writing any part of any story from
Yeah.
start to finish, you have to think about the whole story. And so a side effect of that is when you're watching movies, TV shows, or whatever, sometimes you can't turn off the writer brain in your head. You kind of like look at it and you're like, you could sort of see where
Hmm.
everything's going. You could sort of see Midsummer, and I'm not gonna spoil anything. If you haven't seen it, go into it blind. It's not jump scare scary. There is a bit of gory scenes. There are a few, gory scenes, but it's not jump scare scary. But it is a horror film. Make no bones about it. It's a horror film, and the thing I found myself up until the end credits rooting for the antagonist without realizing it. That's why that movie is so
Yep.
good to me because it made me. I always say the best villain to me is a villain I could understand.
Yeah.
It's like Thanos if you've watched the Marvel thing.
Yeah.
He's absolutely batshit insane, but I can understand the logic he's
Yeah.
coming from, right? Like
Exactly.
I kind of get it, but he's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's the best villain to me. And the antagonist in Midsummer, I understand, like I sort of understand their motivations for doing what they did, and then you're like, at the end you're like, you feel whatever, and then the end credits are rolling, and you're just like, man, I was rooting for some fucked up shit. Oh
Yeah.
damn.
Right.
Ah, hmm. You guys took me on a ride there. but yeah, it was very well acted, and ironically enough, I actually went to visit Sweden. That's where I went on vacation. Did not experience any midsummer like experiences, but funnily enough, I did go into a remote part of northern Sweden. So, but it was it's very good if you can get a chance to watch it. Again, if you think it's going to be too scary, get a buddy. It's not jump scare scary. It's more gory and psychological.
Yeah.
It leaves you really questioning some things at the end. I feel like I want to see the director's cut. I think either just released or
Oh,
came out.
really? Okay, I need
Yeah,
to watch
yeah.
that. Because you're
I want
definitely
to see
right
that.
about like jaw dropping like moment, or I
Mm-hmm.
would say moments in
Yeah.
that whole thing. Yeah, yeah. Because I'm not too into horror movies, so I
Mm,
usually watch them with like people or
mm-hmm.
anyone that would be okay with watching one. But I will tell you, like like horror is not my favorite genre, but that is one of the few movies where I was this movie was so good, but I was
Mm-hmm.
just left like kind of like in little pieces at the end because I was just like,
Yeah.
what did I
Yeah.
just watch? Like it took me. I like to call it like those movies where you need to talk about it after you watch
Mm-hmm.
it. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what it is. Like because there's a lot of movies where you're just like, oh yeah, that was such a good movie, dude. Like I loved it. It was great. But no, this movie, it's like you have to break down the process
Yeah.
afterwards because
Yeah.
it just leaves you like that. It just leaves you with that like okay, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not much to say until you break it down.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Yeah, that's. I'm glad you were able to watch that last year. That's a good,
Yeah.
definitely a good movie. I recommend.
Yeah, I like I said, recommend it. Watch it with a buddy if you need to. You can let me ask me if you want. If you want to watch it, but the gory bits might be too much. Ask me, and I'll, what scenes to avoid or something, and I'll tell you. Like, when you see this, close your eyes or
Yeah.
whatever. Because it's worth watching on the whole. Um, and finally, my last highlight of 2022 was finally getting to experience the Outer Wilds.
Oh
I
wow.
still haven't finished it,
Yeah.
so I don't know the exact way the story ends. There's a little bit of frustration as me, the gamer, because I'm bad when I'm left to my own devices, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what this
Yeah.
game does. It's like go,
Yeah.
but
Basically.
yeah, it's kind of like here, go play. Good luck. And I'm really bad at that, so I kind of am like fumble fucking around a bit, but the thing is that typically games like that I would have said no, I can't. I need more structure. But this game, I want to keep playing. I there's a planet, I think I forget the name of it, but it literally made me in awe. And it's rare that games, because like graphically this game is not like the most, you're not going to be confused that you're watching a NASA special, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not. It's not that graphically great, but it's well enough, and it does good with what it has, right? Like it makes the most of what it has under the engine in terms of graphics and environment. And I broke through the atmosphere of one planet in particular, and it's I'm not gonna spoil the plot, but the planet atmosphere is like a water planet with tornadoes everywhere.
Oh my
And
god, I know what you're talking about. Oh my god.
exactly,
That
exactly,
is
and you.
definitely a like what? Like okay,
Mhm.
like it's a definitely kind of like you click and you're like, well, I did not expect that.
Exactly. I just remember just being like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Like just in complete awe of it, because again, the tornadoes, they're realistic looking, and the water, is realistic looking enough, and it's just like, and you're in this ship, and you just feel like for me, I'm like, "Oh shit! I hope this ship doesn't break or anything, because I'll be fucked." And it's like those kinds of cool little moments that is just given to you by you just going out and playing. Um, that's the game I recommend it. Even if you're like me, where you're not really good without too much direction. If you like space, it's worth checking out. I honestly just love floating around in the little spaceship and flying around and going from planet to planet. Even when I don't really discover too much, I like trying to land in awkward places and not blow up my ship. But funny story, and then we'll move on. Um, the first stream I did, my very first stream, and there's a clip of it out there somewhere.
Okay.
I was towards the end of the stream, and there was like there's a comet or something flying around, and I'm like, I want to go there, and I go to land there, but I hit it too hard, and I literally, go spinning or whatever, and I broke my ship in half. And I go to get up to, like, inspect my ship, and I literally just leave into the vacuum, and I look over at a little piece of debris floating away, and I'm like, "Is that my ship?" Because I'm like, suddenly I'm weightless and I'm like
Yeah.
floating around. I'm like, "Is that my ship?" And then of course I die of, whatever else, and somebody clipped it, and you could see as I get up the bulkhead of my ship just float off, and there it goes. And indeed that was my ship because I had cracked it in half. And it's moments like that that I love. That it just lets you, you know, have shit like that. So that was definitely a highlight, and those were my highlights of the year. Definitely check out The Haunting of Hill House. Definitely check out Midsummer, and check out The Outer Wilds if you get a chance to check out any of those things. Make accommodations however you need to either watch the movies or play the games. I would recommend it. But BB, we talked about the happy. Are you ready to talk about the not so happy?
Am I ready? That I don't think at least for these, I don't think I'm going to ever be ready to talk about them because like
Well,
they're so they're like I mean it's not like super bad, but I'm just like
bad enough.
very yeah and a little frustrating at times. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go right in with the I think the one that we both are probably very disappointed in, or not even just me and you, like you and I, like probably almost everyone who loves
The
this
world at
franchise.
large.
Yeah, um, it would definitely have to be number one. 343's just the way they're handling or have handled Halo Infinite. Basically the way that Halo Infinite is right now, and what a the thing is like this one is definitely bittersweet because last year I can't like I can't really like describe the hype there was around this
Ha,
because
yeah.
I'm talking when they announced when they did when Xbox did that whole like live event of showing like their new games and whatnot, right? They showed up Infinite. Everybody was like, oh, I remember we were having like a mini watch party in the Discord, like watching,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there was people at work, right? And like, just like, oh my gosh, like no way, like they're showing all this stuff. It looked really cool. Really, they really hyped it up. But the moment they literally said at the end, and now you can play the open beta or whatever, right? The
Mm-hmm.
amount of I'm talking about people leaving Discord to like download the game and like like it was just like popping off, right? And that kind of the reason I say it's bittersweet is because that started this big community events that we started to have where
Mm-hmm.
we were all playing like Halo. I'm talking about it was almost as bad as the Red Dead Redemption
Yeah.
playthroughs that we had in there.
Interesting that you mentioned Red Dead.
Yeah, right. It was almost as bad as that, where there was like basically Jay was basically describing it as like we all had like shifts where we had like a morning crew, evening crew, because it was like
Mm-hmm.
the Discord was like it was always someone there playing,
Yeah.
and when the Halo thing happened, I remember we had like probably 16 people at one point or 15, I don't even know.
Oh
It
yeah.
was so packed. We were just like, oh my gosh, everyone's having a good time. We're all playing, memeing around, and just like enjoying Halo. And then it kind of like just stopped,
Yeah.
because of 343 basically.
Yeah. And so I'm just gonna join in with you because our first two are similar. So
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than, you know, rehash this, I'll just jump in with my reasonings as to why I picked this as
Mhm.
well, and sort of, just join with what you're saying. 2021 when it released, or when the multiplayer component released for free in November of 2021. That was from like November. Well, what was it, the 7th, I think it came out, or the
Or
11th?
seventh, I think it was somewhere around there. Yeah,
Yeah, it's somewhere early November
yeah,
to like the third week in December.
yeah.
That time frame was the apex of
Oh
Halo
yeah,
Infinite,
oh yeah, for
and
for
it
sure.
was the it was the apex of the game as well as apex in the Discord. And we had so many people. We were fielding big teams for big team battle. Like
Yes.
we had a whole team of just people
Yeah.
in the Discord. We we even played. Give a shout out to Sugar Goody. We played with her dad one
Oh
night.
my god,
he
yes.
he jumped in and played some. And like it was just like all of these people just were like, it was reigniting the spark of Halo. And it's Halo is what made me a hardcore gamer. So that was the great time, if you will. And then around December it just became, well, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
Like, and then I believe the campaign released and it broke a bunch of shit
Oh
in
yeah.
in uh multiplayer. So it just lost all that momentum in my Discord. In our community specific, we just sort of started playing GTA Online, and then from GTA Online we started playing Red Dead Online, and it just nobody was really playing Halo after
Yeah.
that point because there was nothing to do in Halo. And that was the problem that 343 had all year long. As the kids would say, they fumbled the bag. Um because they delayed the start, because like Forge was going to be this big saving grace. And I'm not gonna belabor it too much because I think I spent a lot of 2022 just beating the shit out of Halo, deservedly so, on this
Right.
show. But it was just, yeah, it was just a lack of content. There was Halo Infinite had finite content and infinite bugs, and it's a shame because I remember seeing the passion of the people in those first 3 4 weeks of the when Halo Infinite released, and it was so many people were enjoying it, and it was bringing people who weren't Halo players. They were like, you know what,
Exactly.
we're all playing. I'll give it a whirl. It brought new people to the game of Halo, and it's hard to go back to those people in 2022 and be like, hey, you want to play some that Halo
Exactly.
that you
Yeah.
tried, a little bit, and it's the same old game, even less because they took out some things, and then what they put in breaks other things. And
Yeah.
it's just it's a shame. I love Halo. Without Halo, I'm not a hardcore gamer.
Yeah.
I the first Combat Evolved I got in 2001. I've been playing it since 2001, since it launched, for 22 years now. Um, yes, I'm that old. Um, and I remember, I was playing a level a day until I got up to a certain point where I got a little stuck, and my cousin came over. We spent 14 hours and we marathoned the entire Halo. And I was just like in love with the game after
Yeah.
that. And I started writing fan fictions, which got me started writing. And so, like, a lot of me where I am now and ambitions and things of that nature, gaming and all of that, it started with Halo. And to see 343 basically just absolute take just an absolute drizzling shit on it, like, and just turn
Yeah.
Halo into basically hot dog water. It made me sad.
Oh, I'm right there with you, dude. I'm right there with you because it's exact. I feel exactly, and I think most people will agree with you. Not everyone. uh, because yeah, you're right. That's the bittersweet part about it, which is kind of sucks to put it in like one of the letdowns of 2022, right? Because
Mhm.
yeah, like the thing about when that first launch happened in 2021, it brought, so like you said, it brought so many people together. Like we had people from different communities joining us, and like,
Mhm.
and when we had people from their communities from other communities joining, it was just like
Mhm.
it was just bringing everyone around. And then it just didn't last. The reason why, because just there was no content, there was nothing to
Yep.
keep it alive, there was nothing to and it wasn't only the content, right? It pushed a lot of people away because one, they went the free to play route, which is
Mhm.
already kind of like it was accessible to people who, weren't able to purchase a game or anything. I understand that part, right? I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
But then, we all know how free to play pretty much works, where they try to go heavy on the monetization, right? And that was like a new thing for 343, or at least the Halo franchise.
Mhm.
And they noticed it didn't work, right? Because they were charging like freaking crazy amounts for just a color, literally a color to put on
$5 for
your
blue.
yeah, basically, right? Like Angry Joe would say.
Yeah, just to borrow a page from Angry
um,
Joe's book.
yeah, exactly. Like that just kind of killed it. And then like now the only thing that's kind of keeping it, I wouldn't even say alive, I would say kind of afloat, right? It's just kind of floating with a small player base is, I mean, obviously we're using it for because it's a lot easier to use than like the other games, but is the Forge, which we had some community members actually make maps now, and we've
Yeah.
played on a few like maps that people have made. That's
Mhm.
basically it, and that's kind of what like should have been in the beginning of Halo was Forge. The fact that it
Mhm.
took almost like 2 years or a year, whatever, to like release the actual game, right? Um, that is just it sucks. It really
Yeah.
does suck because, like you said, Halo is like just a big part of our lives. Especially,
Mhm.
I mean, I played Halo multiplayer. That was basically all I played when I was young. I played all of that, and
Yeah.
then I never, sadly, I never played the campaigns. I don't know why, but I corrected that mistake by playing
That you
them. I
did.
think it was like 2020, 2021, around there. I played all of them because I was so hyped for Halo Infinite. I was like, you know what? Let's do this. We're gonna play them. And not only did I play them, but I played them on the what is it? Master difficulty? What is it?
Legendary.
Legendary. Sorry, yeah. On legendary difficulty, where I even had to take a break at one point because it was so freaking. I don't even want to talk about Halo 2, but that broken ass game. But it's still good. It's a
Yeah.
it's a gem, but it's legendary
You know,
just amplified
try
it.
Halo 2 Legendary on co-op if you get
Oh,
a chance out there.
it was so tough watching that because I
Yeah.
could see definitely there was parts where y'all just want to throw that controller. I get it. I get it.
It's why, when you mentioned that the tournament and the league was part of one of the highlights of 2022, it kind of was like, it also highlights why this is one of the lowlights, because
Yeah.
it takes people doing their own thing, because
Mm.
343 doesn't, wouldn't it be great if you can have a tournament client in 34 in an Infinite?
Oh yeah, that would definitely
Like,
be that would definitely be
I feel like that would be helpful. I feel
add
like
that.
that would
Yeah.
be, you know, uh, just a thing to do, right? Like, you can have a little tournament or something,
Yeah, and
whatever.
they're known for tournaments, so it's very strange that like they wouldn't add something like that, to make it. It's just the features. It's the lack of features.
Yes, no content. I mean, it's
Exactly.
just, I remember watching you play that battle royale mode that they added,
Oh
and it
yeah,
was
the
just
the
like,
little like battle royale. Yeah, and I don't even know if it's on there anymore. Like that's the thing. This whole like limited time events. Okay, I like if it's a theme, I understand, but it's like a mode itself. They were like, I get it. They were trying to like rotate to like make players play, basically, right? To have
yeah,
people
but
play, but
that's
the
not
way that
enough.
they did it, it was like you can't be adding rotations when you got nothing. Like just leave it there. You ain't got nothing. Why would you take something out when it's you don't have anything?
Like,
Like
let's rotate this dry napkin for this dirty napkin.
I know, right? It's like they're flipping the
Variety.
napkin. It's like, okay, this one has a stain on it, the other one doesn't. But now we're gonna flip it back to the stain. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, why couldn't you just leave it there? Like, like so yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah,
is and this basically goes into our second one because we were kind of having like we were trying to get ideas of like what we would talk about, and it was funny that we had the same thing. We're like, oh
yeah,
well, we'll just like unite them basically.
yeah.
But the other one would be number two would be basically Red Dead. The kind of the if we think about it, this might just be the end of Red Dead. We don't know. We hope it's not. if they'd make a another Red Dead, that'd be cool. But the way that they had said, they're no longer going to technically support and like any major updates on the game, that just kind of sucks because it's again another bittersweet like thing that happened because
Mhm.
that was
Missed
an
opportunity.
yeah, oh, definitely, man. And the thing is like the game it's still selling great. Like it's still selling great. You still got great like content creators making content out of this and just playthroughs and it to me goes down as hands down like one of the best campaigns I've played. One of the
Oh,
best
yeah.
set of characters, protagonists, antagonists, like everything. Settings,
Mhm.
graphics, engine, like literally everything. And then the online component that's supposed to further enhance that, right? To take you to the next level of being your own cowboy or cowgirl, like in that setting, right? Just kind of like that's it. We're basically wrapping it up. And it's like, damn, you had so much potential instead of like fueling GTA that's come out like the amount of times Skyrim has come out.
Yeah,
Like,
it's with cars.
right? It's like you could have like not saying you don't have to support that other game that obviously makes you money, but you could have split that in half the resources and just be like, look, let's add more to this. And it just sucks because the biggest thing for me is that we again same thing that happened in Halo. We met so many great people that we still, are they're still part of the community today. But
Mhm.
we've met such great people through playing like Red Dead Online. And
Yeah.
and again it goes back to the having the cruise, the morning and the evening cruise, because it was literally like a
Mhm.
like that we were like a 24-hour gas station. That's
Yeah.
literally how the Discord was. I
Yeah.
wish I was lying, like it sounds something exaggerating, and I know this might happen in other discords, maybe like big content or big like discords or whatever, right? But
Yeah.
I'm talking about like when you got off playing for which at times myself I will say I was playing like 8 hours maybe, like
But again,
just
good work shift.
oh my, I was literally I would go to work and then go to work again in the game. Like,
Yeah.
like I would clock in the game, work another shift, and then I get off. Wake up in the morning and there's still people, sometimes the same people,
Yeah.
sometimes the ones I said goodnight to, like
Yeah.
still playing. And that is like one of the most beautiful things that I've ever experienced
Mhm.
in gaming with the community. Like
Yeah.
because it was so like, oh, Red Dead, Red Dead, Red Dead, and then like
Yeah.
going on having the posses, and even if you couldn't have
Mhm.
like, you couldn't do like the bounty missions with like, I think sometimes they maxed it at like 5 or 6. You could still take the whole 8 crew members or whatever
Mhm.
to go just explore and go do stuff. The
Yeah.
amount of lassoing you did with each other, like, great
It
times, man.
it was it was something that happened again. I always say the best things in this life happened like organically. And it was supposed to we were supposed to play earlier in the year, but timing just didn't work out, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so the way it started for, and I'm gonna hijack this for a little bit and give a little bit of a story because Red Dead means so much, I think, to me and my community and those people in it who participated in this absolute madhouse of a month, pretty much. It was about a
Oh
month,
man,
month and a
yes,
half
month and a half, yeah, around
of
there.
just craziness. Um, Myself, BB here, Sir Grekky, and Silent Dark Angel, we had sort of all been like, we like Red Dead, we just don't have people to play with or whatever. And so we were going to play the online because there is an online story. We were going to play through it together. And I had the idea of saying, hey, we're going to do it. Let's stream it to the Discord. And the first Saturday that we did it, so many people popped in, and it was a
Mhm.
thing where I created a role in the Discord where only the four of us could talk because I wanted it to be like a stream and people could just watch and chat rather than have like, chaotic crosstalk. So many people wrote, "Oh, Red Dead? I love Red Dead. I just don't have people to play with."
Mhm.
And so by like that was a Saturday, by like Sunday, basically I had to give so many people the role to talk, to be able to talk because so many people had the game and wanted to play. It was like it was reserved for people who were playing the game, but so many people were playing. It became pretty much anybody who was in the chat had the role to
Yeah,
talk because it was
basically,
just
yeah.
everybody was playing. And so that whole restriction went away, and it became a thing of like people seeing it, and there were people who always wanted to have a crew, had never had a crew, found a crew. People who were on the fence about playing it said, you know what, let me give it a chance. And I tell you, I played through those missions, those fucking story missions so many times.
Oh my.
Fire me.
Yeah.
Um, but like, and that's how it started. And you had a group of, it was because, the community is from all over the world, and you had the Europeans would be playing, and then, as yeah, I'm on the East Coast, so as the
Oh,
East Coast morning turned to afternoon,
yeah.
it was evening in Europe, so they'd all, start going to sleep one by one, and the East Coasters would be playing, and then, the Midwesterners and West Coast folks would come online, and then the East Coasters would go to sleep, and the West Coasters would be up all night, and then it would be morning in Europe, and the Europeans would come on, and it would just be like that
Yes, yo.
24 hours a day. There was at least three people in there playing.
I
It
know.
wasn't like there was just one person, holding the can.
No.
No, it was groups of
It was
people.
literally posses.
Yeah,
like just like in the game, it was posses out there playing the game. Like it,
for
unbelievable.
for about a
I
two
really
week
couldn't believe
period.
it. I really
I
couldn't
neither
believe it.
could I. Neither could I
Those
for
those
about a
first 2 weeks, I think, I was still in shock because I was just like,
yeah.
damn, like people here? Like people still here? And I didn't I mean I like it's just like it was just incredible. This was just a incredible
Hmm.
feeling to see that. And I was just like, damn, like this is peak gaming for me, like this is what gaming is like. Like
Yeah,
oh man.
it's the thing of gamers' fantasies, really, to
Mhm.
have that, like, because like I'm not a multiplayer gamer, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not huge on multiplayer games,
Yeah.
but I just loved it. It's because you create your own character, and it's like everybody has their own little fashion sort of
Yo,
sense and
yeah, yeah.
their own look, and everybody has their own little horse, and everybody's got their guns and their style, and it's like, and of course people meme and lasso and jokes, and it's just how people bond. And I think that it's something that can never be replicated because you can't manufacture that.
Yeah, definitely.
And so to get to why this is a disappointment is because what tapered it off was we ran through all the content.
Yeah, yeah,
There was nothing
exactly.
left to do. It was like
Yeah.
Halo. There was nothing left to do. So you can't hold people to just keep doing, daily challenges, or hey, let's do, let's ride in a circle for 3 hours. No,
Like,
people might come on and they might do a bounty or two or something for old time's sake. But then you lose, it's like, all right, I'm gonna go do something else now. I had my fun, and that's why it's such a disappointment, because while you cannot sustain what we sustain 24 hours. No, you can't do that. Everything has a limit.
exactly, yeah.
It was like that for a month and a half, and the 24-hour always on was about for like a 2 week period, and that was amazing. And of course, you can't sustain that, but you would love to see content being added to the game, missions, or new types of jobs.
Yeah.
And I've said this, I'm not huge on microtransactions, but if it was like, hey, we're experimenting on seeing how much support Red Dead has, we're going to introduce a few monetization items in terms of like customization or
Yeah.
something, I would buy it.
Oh yeah.
I would, as long as it's
Definitely.
not pay to win, I would definitely
Exactly.
buy it.
Yeah.
I feel like they should, and we've discussed this on this show, permanent structures, like players, to allow players like a permanent structure, do like GTA, where it's like a ranch fence line, where once you cross the fence line, it's each individual players and their posse, kind of like the camp or whatever, and let people, pay, even if it has to be real world money or gold or whatever, pay to have a permanent structure that they can customize. And you, at a decent rate, you monetize the customization and missions and all of that stuff. And I think it could have been done, but unfortunately it wasn't. And I don't know that we'll ever go back to the world of Red Dead, which is the biggest shame, because the campaign was so, just, it pulled you in, and
Oh
it
yeah.
made you
One of the
like, I
most
yeah.
most memorable, like just everything, setting, music. The amount of times where I
Hmm.
would just like listen to the music and go on the cinematic mode when I'm going to a mission and just like watching you ride your horse to the your destination in the background. Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, we've definitely like Red Dead is definitely one of the biggest things we've talked about here on like and that's the funny part about it. It's kind of ironic if you think about it, because we've talked a lot about Red Dead and Halo, and
Mm-hmm.
here we are thinking of the great things about it, but also like the pointing things, right? Which is it just sucks, This is just a
Yeah.
feeling that just sucks. That damn, like they really just were like, yeah, that's about it, guys.
Well, because in both cases, in Red Dead and in Halo, the most fun we had is the fun we created ourselves.
Oh
It
well,
was nothing
definitely.
that the studio
Yeah,
did. So,
definitely, definitely.
other than, coding the original game. So,
Yeah.
but this is where our lists diverge. So, BB, I'm going to let you go first as to your low light,
I
your
think
third low light.
the last thing for me is um basically it's funny that I say this. 'Cause I think the movie came out like maybe mid middle of the year, maybe towards the end. I don't know, but I saw
I
it
think
towards the
towards
end.
the end.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was towards
I
the
saw
end.
it towards the end because they like released it. It wasn't even that long till they released the thing on HBO. But
Yeah.
the thing to end it for me was Black Adam. That movie just honestly, I don't even. It's like it should deserve like its own category. Honestly, like its own genre. It's like no, it's like basically like how do I put it? It's like The Rock. I don't want to say he's the problem, but he is the problem. In that movie. But it also is probably the writers in a way.
Yeah.
It can be that because we all know, like I love The Rock. The Rock is just one of the coolest and probably badass entertainers right out there, especially when it came to like wrestling, right? But then
Yeah.
moving to like the movie world where he does these like crazy action movies, and they're usually pretty good. They're like popcorn films most of the time, where you can watch them and have a good time, right? But at least
Yeah.
with like the Black Adam role, where I just felt like I was just watching The Rock in a costume. Like I wasn't watching Black Adam, you know?
Yeah.
This character that he was supposed to where he hyped it up so much about like, oh, like I've been dedicating, myself to this role and everything. Physically, oh yeah, I'll give you thumbs up. I mean, he mostly never disappoints, right?
Yeah.
With his
Yeah.
training and everything. Like props to that dude, like a beast. But like
He's insane.
acting
Yeah.
wise, like oh man, like there was just scenes where he was just like looking at the camera and just like want to be serious, but I couldn't help but like laugh because I'm just like, bro, what are you doing right now? Like, like there was
Mm-hmm.
just so many cringe moments in that movie that I honestly like. I was bored. I was
Mm.
very bored, and it's funny that it's with a superhero movie that's probably like one of the biggest things in this like right now, right? Is
And
that
that's
that like genre,
yeah.
right? Of like superhero movies is like the most like that sells at the moment, right? But oh no, that movie I was snoring, Like I really was. Like it was just kind of a pain to watch. And I don't know if anyone's I don't want to I mean I guess it's not really spoilers at this point because
Give
um
people like a 30-second thing, or
okay,
like a
yeah.
count to 10
All right, so
spoilers,
there's
and
spoilers now. So if you don't want to know what happens at the end of Black Adam, you can go and watch another video of ours. Aha, marketing. Yeah, did I do it right?
uh,
And but at the end of so at the end of Black Adam, after like the post credit scene, you get to see, which is another disappointment that I didn't put down here because I mean I like him, but I don't follow him like that. But you get to see Superman, like Henry Cavill
mm,
in his iconic Superman uniform, right? The suit, and just total badass walking in like he's about to like he's warning Black Adam like you need to chill out or we're gonna fight over some Girl Scout cookies, like just
yeah.
like okay, and I think that was probably not lying the most hype moment I was at the end. I was like, oh, he's back, no way, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then obviously the news that yeah they sliced his contract or whatever the heck happened, right? And I was like, oh, so that was technically pointless. So that made the movie even worse. So
The most hype moment of the movie
I
is
know,
just something
and
that's
it's just
never
like
gonna happen.
exactly yeah. It's like it's not gonna happen. It's like what? So yeah, I don't really want to get too much into the movie. I put it there because it was, I mean, to me it was at the end of the year and it was like pretty disappointing. Like damn, we ended the year with this movie that's supposed to be like
Yeah.
super hyped up because it's like in the making for years or whatever, right? But yeah.
Supposedly, yeah, I think The Rock, personally put a lot of money into,
Hmm.
but I think that exposes the problem with The Rock. I mean, look, I love The Rock. I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I love, I'm glad that he's not falling off a ladder. Instead, he's making movies. More
Yeah.
power to him. It's easier on the body. But the problem becomes is that I don't know if it's the writers who are like, okay, this guy, we don't trust him to try to, act. So let's
Mm.
just write parts for him to be, The Rock.
Yeah.
But it's like The Rock in different situations. Like we
Yeah.
were talking about San Andreas, which I'm a huge fan of disaster movies personally. It's a guilty pleasure, but San Andreas is just The Rock
Yeah, it literally
playing,
is. Yeah.
like a helicopter guy or whatever it was. And it's
Yeah.
like you'll watch, Hobbs and Shaw, and it's just The Rock playing, whatever. Like it's never The Rock. It's never Dwayne Johnson plays
Yeah.
role. It's always The Rock in this
Yeah,
situation.
like in the credits, they should, how they put like the name of the actor and then like what role they played. It's always like the role, right? Like you said, like Helicopter Man and then Rock. Like
Yeah,
Helicopter Man was played by or is playing the Rock. Like
yeah, The Rock as Helicopter Man, because and that should
yeah,
be the movie title. I know that's one of your
yeah, exactly.
podcast episodes,
Yes, that should
circling back to
definitely
the marketing. But
that
it's
should definitely been the title of that movie because that's
yeah,
what it
it's just
was.
The Rock plays X. Like that's just it. And it's like with Black Adam, I haven't seen it. I'm not like I don't care for DC, first of all. And after Endgame, I haven't watched any superhero thing because I'm like, you know
Mm,
what? Endgame was a good ending point. Like,
yeah.
and now it's all flooded with every fucking D-list superhero getting a 19 episode series. It's each episode's 45 minutes long, and
Oh
I'm gonna
god.
sit there and watch a guy I couldn't pick out of a lineup to save my life, discover himself. I'm like, I can't be fucked. So I haven't watched any superhero media since Endgame, but it just looked like The Rock cosplay. You know what it looked like? It looked like The Rock plays Shazam because the costumes were
I
similar.
mean, yeah, yeah, technically. Yeah, the whole like lore behind that it's kind of complicated, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, just from a visuals
Hmm.
perspective, like because I think they both wear red muscly outfits, so it's like The Rock plays Shazam was pretty much what it looked like, and I was just like, I love Zachary Levi, and I can't be fucked to watch Shazam. I'm not gonna watch The Rock play Shazam, and so I heard that Black Adam was complete ass cheeks. I heard it was absolute hot dog water. So I'm not surprised that that's one of your lowlights. But one of my lowlights, BB, brace yourself
Oh no.
because you may need to like, I don't know, get like a comfort support plushie or something
Oh my god.
because you know this all too well. But my third lowlight is summed up in 4 words: Deep Space Battle
Oh,
Sim. That game,
having the flashbacks now of the
oh,
worst controllers.
boredom.
Yeah, of like not actually doing anything in that game. I felt like I was developing the game. Like I was a beta tester or something.
I felt like I was being punked. I was looking around
Yeah.
for hidden cameras at one point because it's like, okay, I've played bad games, I've played boring games, and
They
I
should have
always
actually they should have paid us to play that game.
they really should have. I always say like you gotta pick one. You can't be boring and bad. You gotta
Yeah.
be
Oh
either
yeah,
or.
definitely. Definitely
Like
can't be both, yeah.
we've played games that are bad but are fun to play and meme around in. Flashing lights when we memed around a little bit in it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and then we've just played boring games that were competent. This was neither. This was bad. It had horrible UI, had horrible like it didn't tell you what the fuck was what, and it was like you could. I was like, oh, control a deep, a big battle cruiser. Yeah, they
Oh
don't
my
tell you. You're the only
gosh,
fucking one
yes.
on the ship. You got to do every job. It's like that old Bugs Bunny cartoon. Pitching, Bugs Bunny. First base, Bugs Bunny. Second base, Bugs Bunny. Shortstops, Bugs Bunny. Third base, Bugs Bunny. It's like you got to do everything. And then
Yeah.
there's like these bots that are there, but they don't do shit. They just stare at you. It's just like, it was so bad. It was, and I love space, but the ships didn't move like they were in space. They moved like they were bricks on molasses. It was the absolute drizzling shits. I mean, I'm pretty sure getting a catheter would be more
Oh
entertaining
my
because at
god.
least there's a there's some like adrenaline rush going on or
Yeah.
something. This game was just
And the thing too is like we tried to have fun. Like you know how much work that is? Like in
I-
especially in a game like that, like it wasn't that we were like not having fun like, intentionally or whatever, right? It was literally it was not fun. And we even try to make the game our own by like just going on. You were in one team and I was in the other one. I remember
mm-hmm.
we versus each other because apparently matchmaking doesn't really exist. Because
There were
I'm
like
I'm sure there's
three
no one
people
playing.
playing that
Yeah,
game.
like
No,
and like and then all I remember is what broke it for me. Literally, I broke down and like you could see. I think if you go back and check the playthrough, you can kind of see that part where I'm literally like just holding down the shoot button at the
mm-hmm.
door where you're in the command set, the bridge, just trying to
Mm-hmm.
break through that door. And I'm just sitting there for like probably 5 to 10 minutes, just shooting the door down. Like, and then I find you, I shoot you, and then that's it. Like,
Yeah,
I was like, okay, so now what do I do? Like, like
it was it was just so bad. So yeah,
it was, yeah, definitely.
that hurt my feelings. Like that game just my grandkids will be mad at that game. That game was just a I don't regret like a lot of things I've done because I try to always be like well everything's an experience or a lesson or I regret that game. I regret that game completely. That game was
Oh yeah,
just I'm sorry if you're developing the Deep Space Battle Sim and you're out there listening to us,
sorry.
stop. Just stop. Put your pencil down. You tried. It was an attempt. Stop. Go to Craigslist or go to Glassdoor, Indeed, find a new vocation. Cause sweetie, this ain't it.
No, I
This
have
ain't
to
it.
say I've never refunded a game so fast in my like
Same.
as soon as like we
As soon as that stream was done,
oh as soon as we finished recording and because I was we were even thinking like oh maybe we if it's fun we could probably invite people. Oh no, oh no. I'm telling you, I had like probably 10 minutes into the game, install or uninstall and refund were in the back of my mind, just floating there, waiting, just waiting for us to finish the content and just go to the Steam page and just no,
I was thinking
like
about what can I get with the money I paid for this game.
right, yeah.
What better game can I buy? But
Oh yeah, that was
speaking
good.
of, the content and all of that, it has been 1 year since we've done this. I believe we started in February of 2022. Don't hold me to that because, my memory's shit. So we started in January. Fuck you. No, we didn't. Um, but it's been a year and it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. I remember watching your stream in I think it was January of 22 during like all that Red Dead stuff and you were streaming and I don't know you were going on about something or another and I had this idea. I was like, what, we should do a show together. We should, and I don't know if you remember, I wrote you and I was
Oh
like, hey, I
yeah.
got this idea, and I was like, we could do this and that, and we can call it the BB&J Show. And then I remember I was on Mint Drop's stream a little bit like the next
I
week.
think I remember that stream. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we were playing. I don't know what we were playing. We were either playing Halo or Sea of Thieves,
I
something
think
like that.
it was
And
Sea of Thieves. Yeah, I remember y'all were playing Sea of
yeah, and you and I were agreeing on something because you were in chat, and somebody just put the name together like BB&J, and it was like, oh, that's a good name. It's kind of like PB&J, and I was kind of like, fuck, they're thinking
I
about it
know,
already.
right? I was like,
Damn
"What?
it.
No way! We just talked about this."
Yeah, I mean, right
Oh
on.
god.
But
Oh yeah.
it's been amazing. I loved it. I love, you know, we took a break in the middle of the year because life happens as it does, but we're back, and I couldn't have been happier to have done the year that we did. I think we learned some things. I think we've figured some things out,
Yeah,
and I think we have a plan going forward that's going to be really interesting. And thank you to you at home for sticking with us and
definitely.
watching these episodes. And I know this one is probably a little bit long. I think we've been here for about an hour now.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good
but you know
comeback
what?
episode. Like
It's yeah,
kind of
it's
set the tone for the year.
yeah. Fuck you. It's a special episode.
Yeah.
Enjoy it. You know. But going forward, we are trying to do shorter form episodes, and but it's been a wonderful year of beating the shit out of Halo, and I feel like we have a few themes on this show: Halo, and me going on weird rants on weird things, and you being the professional that you are, trying to keep a straight face.
Oh my god. I try, but it's almost impossible. No, definitely. I think the thing I'm looking like forward to the most will probably be something that you will like the new thing that you'll about. Because we all love, ranting. It's the best. But yeah, it's hopefully like I'm really excited for this year. Like we have a lot of things that we finally have set into motion, right? Where we kind of have a better way of like releasing things.
Hmm.
I think it was just that like I mean, yeah, again the IRL stuff that's just gonna be something
Yeah,
no matter what,
yeah.
right? But
Nothing
just
you can do
coming up
about
with
that.
a better plan going forward with it. I think that's gonna be the part that we're gonna try to focus more. So it
Yeah,
can be more, just better quality, better time frames, and in that way we can still deliver, cut them up
yeah,
a little bit shorter, definitely put out some
yeah,
I'm super excited today.
yeah.
I
Oh,
can't
I'm
wait.
really excited,
Can't wait.
and I just want to let everybody know that we are gonna one of the things that we're doing is recording in bulk. So not today because it's right now as we record. This is past midnight on the East
Yeah.
Coast of the United States. So no, but typically we're gonna record in bulk and just release the episodes as they go. So if you see me wearing the same outfit for like a month, fuck you. I recorded it in one night.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
I'm a
definitely.
little punchy after midnight, as you can see. I think I've said "fuck you" to the audience about like 5 times in the last 10 minutes. But fuck you, it's late at night.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, it's honestly just a pleasure, and I love that we got to do it. I love that we got to learn, and I'm really excited going forward. Uh, with how we have it structured. We have the way it's not going to be the same thing every episode. We have the BB&J plays, we have the game reviews, we have all these little things that we have broken up in a month, pretty much a
Yeah.
month of content. So I'm looking forward to it. And of course, if something breaking happens, where it's like really important news, we'll record a special episode or something like that. But it's not like anybody would do anything stupid, that would require us to cover. So I think we're safe on that front. But yeah, I think BB, I think we should probably wrap this up. We've been here for about an hour and
No,
5 minutes by my count.
yeah,
Um,
definitely
yeah.
change.
So if you're still watching,
Oh,
thank you.
yes,
Fuck you.
like we always
Um,
say, you're the MVP.
yes, that too. That part too. That very nice part. Um, but I love you. I love
Same,
you
fam.
dearly. If you're still watching, and BB, I love you dearly. And this ride wouldn't have been the same without you. So it's been a year. It's been a wonderful year. Here's to many more. And so yeah, just a hearty fuck you, and I'll see you next time.
Peace out, peeps. And my new intro, or me outro.
Somebody stepping on